I'm not training with the mentality, you know, that I'm getting ready, you know, to fight an icon, to fight a legend. At the end of the day, he's just another man.
Have you ever stopped to imagine what unfolds when a legendary slugger, who's dodged the bullets of time, steps back into the ring? Can a warrior, carved by decades of pain and glory, still rise above a fierce young champion in his prime?
Trying to fight for my title. He's going in there trying to, you know, take my title, and I gotta do whatever.
The moment the news broke, Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios, the boxing world held its breath. Two titans, divided by a generation, united by fate, grit, and unrelenting drive. The stakes, as high as they get, a living legend chasing one final chapter, a rising star fighting to etch his name into history. And when Roy Jones Jr., one of the most electrifying fighters to ever lace up a pair of gloves, gives his take, the entire sport leans in this high-energy, satirical breakdown. We'll unpack it all, the behind-the-scenes whispers, the legend's insights, and the blueprint for victory laid out by Roy himself.
I would not be able to take credit for beating Pacquiao after he got knocked out by Marquez, because that's not the same thing.
Roy Jones Jr. knows power. He's felt it, delivered it, and learned to respect it. So when he watches Manny Pacquiao train at 46, it's not HECs, it's obsession, precision, hunger that hasn't dimmed with time. Manny's not logging miles on a treadmill for a paycheck. He's chasing legacy. He pivots like a hummingbird, vanishes behind feints, then unleashes lightning-fast combinations before Barrios can even blink. Roy points out, at 46, most fighters lose their legs before they lose their fists, but Manny, his legs are still launching pads, generating torque, generating pain. Barrios isn't just up against a different weight class or an aging legend. He's facing a wall of wisdom and war-tested instincts. The game plan is simple: cut off the ring, force Barrios into firefights, and land that deadly left before he has time to breathe.
That's how this game. But in society today, we'll call that person the best fighter ever.
Mario Barrios has his own fire to fuel him, a man in peak condition, throwing punches forged by struggle and sharpened by grit. He's climbed the ranks one upset at a time, never handed anything. Under trainer Bob Santos, Barrios' jab has become a cornerstone, surgical, relentless, and designed to dismantle confidence. He doesn't just throw combos, he builds them, layer by layer, testing reactions before going all in. But Roy Jones Jr. sees something else beneath the polish, youth tinted with swagger, and that swagger, it can dull your instincts. In sparring footage, Roy watched Barrios unleash flurries, 40 punches in for seconds, electric, but sometimes reckless. And in those bursts, Roy spotted something more dangerous than speed: overreach. The kind of window a technician like Pacquiao pries open with brutal precision. Roy's advice: tame the storm, use the jab to manage distance, stay disciplined. Pick your moments or risk becoming a clip on Pacquiao's ever-growing highlight reel.
When that's not how that goes. That's not reality. But in fifth.
But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't a runway, this is war. And Manny's camp is pulsing with quiet confidence. In leaked gym footage, he hammers the heavy bag, dances through shadowboxing rounds with flashes of his prime, and snaps focus mitts like a coiled spring ready to strike. Sure, critics question his age, his slower reflexes, the wear in his eyes. Roy Jones Jr., he brushes it off. Power's the last thing to fade, he says, like a fine scotch, it only gets meaner with time. To Roy, Pacquiao's essence is untouched. The speed, the timing, the sixth sense that can't be trained. He remembers sparring days under Robert Guerrero and says Manny's power felt the same then as it does now. If Roy's reading is right, Barrios might not make it past round 5 before the storm hits.
The fighter of the decade, 1990s, passing on the torch to Manny Pacquiao, fighter of the 2000s.
Right.
The voices of veteran warriors add fuel to the debate. Juan Manuel Marquez, the last man to drop Pacquiao, warns that age doesn't lie, old injuries, worn joints, they don't always wait until fight night to betray you. Still, even he concedes, with disciplined training, knockout power can endure. Then there's Teddy Atlas, sharp-tongued and ever skeptical, painting a darker picture. He calls it what it is, playing with fire, because no matter how sharp you look in camp, a 46-year-old body can't ignore the scars of decades in the ring. But Roy Jones Jr. pushes back with a reminder: even a 26-year-old can have his lights turned off with one clean shot. The truth: Boxing doesn't care about birth certificates. It only bends for those who respect its brutality and pay the price in full.
Any advice tonight for him?
Just be smart. Don't get overly aggressive. Try to be smart with your aggression.
Barrios' camp has its own chorus of believers. Sean Porter praises his prime condition, built. He says to charge forward and make Pacquiao pay for any misstep. Amir Khan cautions that long layoffs can blunt a fighter's instincts, but admits one clean shot from Barrios could flip the entire script behind the scenes. Matchmakers murmur about the real prize, a potential Pacquiao-Mayweather sequel. Should Manny emerge victorious, a dangling carrot tempting for fighters. And networks alike. Roy, he just laughs. If Pacquiao stops Barrios, he says, the whole world will be chasing his next move.
Be smart with your aggression. Take your shots when you can, but don't go out there to just strictly knock him out. Just outbox him like you did last time, and when you get a chance.
Beneath the buzz and noise, there's a satirical undercurrent hard to ignore. Boxing media feasts on clickbait. Barrios the next rich to defend. Pacquiao's age meltdown. Loud headlines, thin substance, but beneath the circus lies nuance. Roy Jones Jr. urges fans to see past the hype. To him, this isn't just a slugfest. It's a chess match, a battle of minds, not just fists, the real keys. Ring IQ, timing, and conditioning. For Pacquiao, it means going back to the blueprints. 5 a.m. road work, jump rope drills, and marathon pad sessions to stay razor sharp across 12 rounds. For Barrios, it's about balance, mixing explosive offense with smart defense, angles, fights, head movement, and that stiff jab. All to keep Manny honest and unpredictable.
The few guys that I give more credit to than most people.
Right.
I saw this guy fighting at 135. How do you fight him at?
Training camps have become battlegrounds of attrition, where every drop of sweat is a down payment on destiny. Pacquiao's preparation is forged in fire, rooted in the raw grit of old-school discipline. Pre-dawn runs through punishing hills, shadowboxing until his arms scream. Pad work so sharp it slices the air like a blade. Barrios, on the other hand, trains in the age of data. Heart rate monitors track his every beat. Altitude masks push his lungs into overdrive. Slow motion film breaks down his form frame by frame. Every move studied, refined, repeated. It's tradition versus technology. To philosophies. 2. Warriors convince their path carves the sharper blade. Neither corner flinches. Both blend the wisdom of the past with the weapons of the present. And when the doors close behind them, all that remains is raw will and sharpened skill.
I'm at 168. You understand me? And he's still dangerous at 168. He ain't just no fight. You got.
This ain't just a fight, it's a science now. Nutrition and recovery have become battlegrounds of their own. As fighters chase peak performance with clinical precision, Pacquiao sticks to what built him: lean proteins, brown rice, and greens, a no-frills menu that once powered him to glory. Barrios, he's all in on the modern edge. Protein shakes, energy gels, cryotherapy, anything to squeeze more life from every round. Some skeptics argue that new school recovery coddles fighters, dulls the grit they'll need when fists fly. Old school voices warn, you can't pamper a body built for war. But the truth lies in the balance. Success is about respecting what's proven, exploring what's new, and staying sharp enough to know when the next big thing is just smoke. And as Roy Jones Jr. puts it, with a grin and a warning, watch close, cause if you're not careful, he's
Watch it, because he gonna get you if you ain't careful. If you ain't on your A game, he gonna ask Dana Rosenblatt. Going nothing on your A game, he gonna get you. And even at an old age, not many people beat Roberto Duran.
Right.
He did. Tell me, Roberto went to UK with headgear or without headgear. Nigerian wore headgear. He made Nigerian.
You're clearly not operating at full capacity. He mentioned Dana Rosenblatt. You're slipping. The psychological chess match begins not in the ring, but online where insults, memes, and snarky posts spark like fireworks before the main blast. Pacquiao's legacy shrugs off cheap shots. His silence speaks through swift feet and vanishing angles. Barrios counters with curated training montages and flexed torsos across his platforms. A challenge broadcast to the world. Roy Jones Jr. watches both tactics with amusement, reminding fans that intimidation lives in punches, not posts. Arrogance shatters easily when met with a perfect counter. When the bell rings, bravado fades, what remains is skill and survival. He's coming for you. And let's be honest, very few beat Duran even in his prime, but Pacquiao did. Coaches operate like grandmasters, orchestrating each move from the neutral zone. Freddie Roach, the stoic sentinel of the past, channels the ghost of Pacquiao's peak in every stretch, every sweat break. Meanwhile, Bob Santos guides Barrios' camp with surgical control, merging tactics and raw grit. There's mutual respect in their glances during weigh-ins, but once fists fly, courtesy vanishes, survival takes over. Roberto boxed in the UK with and without headgear. Nigel kept his head protected. Corners become part sanctuary, part strategy. Selling that precious minute between rounds, water, cold compresses, and crisp breath recalibrate the fighter. From cutman to seconds, voices reignite the fire. Pacquiao's camp reminds him to shield the ribs, pace his shots, and pounce on Barrios' mental lapses. Barrios is fed urgency. Jab, stabilize, close in. Roy calls corner advice the jazz rhythm of the fight, invisible beats that guide improvisation. Fighters step back into the center, with those instructions etched like spells beneath the lights. Nigel entered as an underdog new to the stage, younger. You hear me? That's true. Nigel came up through the fan ranks, fueling the frenzy. Flags from the Philippines, Mexico, and the USA flutter like emblems in a global carnival of nerves and dreams. Barrios' fans bet on his youth. Pacquiao's fans counter with faith. Every side brings scars and memories. On social platforms, predictions and superstitions collide. Then silence until gloves collide. He once was a lightweight, regular and super middleweight now. Promoters behind closed doors run the numbers, streaming stats, PPV spikes, venue revenue. A Pacquiao victory could summon a Mayweather rematch. A Barrios win would rewrite rankings, fracture old narratives, and crown a new contender. The industry balances money against myth, but greatness won't answer to paychecks alone. Only hunger and history call legends back. Imagine coming off a neck injury, facing a top-tier fighter. Betting lines tilt to Barrios slightly, he's fresher, more active. But fight week changes everything, sparring leaks, weight cut drama. Markets shift quicker than a title exchange. Roy cautions gamblers, odds reflect hype, not outcome. One punch can flip the story. Boxing resets every round. You still fighting. After all that, he cried post-fight, not out of pride, but fear he didn't want to hurt him again. You understand that? He didn't even want to go through with it. History loves irony. Like Foreman reclaiming glory at 45, flattening Michael Moorer, like Hopkins outlasting age. Those moments aren't blueprints, they're miracles. Pacquiao's return belongs in that realm. Barrios sees another story, to end a myth, and write his own. This bout is more than a clash, it's the collision of timelines. For a while, I had his photos taped to my wall. Round by round forecasts paint a strategic opening act. Early rounds feature cautious pokes and subtle footwork. By round 3, Manny's speed may pierce through, edging ahead. In the middle rounds, Barrios must strike back with precision or risk falling out of rhythm. In the stretch, cardio tells the story, and Pacquiao has written chapters on relentlessness. If it goes to the cards, control of tempo becomes king. Nigel wore the headgear because he once idolized him too. One punch changes everything. A first-round knockout would shock the sport. A late TKO would crown Pacquiao's mind and stamina. A tight decision would divide the internet for weeks. Even a Barrios loss might earn admiration and future title shots. Any Pacquiao win deepens the legend, maybe sparking one last bow. After what he's endured, why shouldn't I be able to rise again? No excuses, win or lose. The consequences for Pacquiao are massive. He might pivot to exhibitions or speeches that draw from his warrior glow. Broadcasters might chase another payday if he teases another return. Some will admire his defiance. Others will beg him to stop. Either way, his legacy evolves, blending sport, belief, and patriotism. No one knew I kept those pictures. I never told a soul. Barrios' fate hinges on performance. A valiant effort, even in loss, could launch him into elite status and attract sponsors, but a weak display could unravel his stock and ours. He could become a what-if, lost in the echoes of near glory. Still, beating a living legend rewrites careers. Barrios' willingness to risk it all may win him immortality or pain. From 154 to heavyweight, that leap is bigger than any 8-division rise. Their clash could steer boxing's next chapter. Will aging stars reignite audiences, or will the sport lean into fresh talent? Industry eyes will track the fallout. Some fighters may copy Pacquiao, chasing impossible comebacks. Others will focus on the youth movement. Either way, this fight will echo through boardrooms and gyms alike as the night approaches. The tension is almost musical. The MGM Grand bathes the ring in light to gladiators approach from different roads, one draped in national flags, the other in media buzz. Each stride toward the ring carries pain, sweat, and sacrifice. Broken bones, sleepless nights on the treadmill. The opening bell fuses those stories into a living saga. Remember, Roy went from 154 to heavyweight against fresh giants. That's next-level greatness. Before the main event, the undercard pulses. With ambition, fighters on the rise deliver chaos and hope. Their battles stir the crowd, layering emotion before the headline fight. Ringside becomes sacred. Ring crews scrub stains and prep the canvas, erasing past scuffles for a bigger showdown. Earlier fighters watch silently, inspired, their own dreams flickering with envy in the booth. Commentators ready their notes but speak with wry interest. They break down tactics, punch stats, and probabilities, no fluff. Their words are sharp, dissecting every dodge, praising each gamble. They guide viewers through chaos with grounded insight. In boxing, the brain outpaces the brawn. Barrios wrestles with self-doubt, haunted by young Manny's ferocity. Pacquiao hears whispers of time, questioning whether his body still obeys. Both rehearse glory and disaster in their minds. When the real bell rings, only mental discipline survives. Advice for young boxers: stay sharp between rounds. Corners become command centers. Roach keeps it blunt, guard tighter, cut the angles, breathe with control. Santos makes surgical tweaks to Barrios' footwork, urging him to jab with dual purpose. Their advice, while old school, cuts deep: question everything, trust nothing. Roy reminds us, 154 to heavyweight is a leap Bob Fitzsimmons never made. Behind the lights, medics, hover cutmen, doctors, all on standby. A gash can flip a fight. A faint pulse can end a career. They balance ethics with the hunger for spectacle. Their presence reminds us, beneath every warrior is a vulnerable frame. The final scorecards do more than crown a winner, they sculpt the sport's future. A Pacquiao blowout could stir veterans. A brave loss by Barrios could build him into a hero. Upset send shockwaves, analysts revise their charts. Every round's math becomes either rebirth or ruin. 8 division champs are rare. Once in a lifetime rare. Speaking of precision, imagine each punch tracked by sensors, data sets from training would rival tech firms. Coaches fluent in code could analyze punch speed, fatigue, reaction time, all in one dashboard. This is boxing now, grit meets geek. Moving up from 154 to heavyweight, still harder than any 8-title run. When the night ends, echoes ripple across timelines. Hashtag surge, clips loop, reels replay that one-shot left hook, spinning step. The conversation shifts from who won to what it meant. Boxing's tapestry grows richer, stitched by pain, poise, and purpose. Final truth: whether you cheer for Pacquiao's season magic or Barrios' raw desire, this fight becomes your story too. Hit like, comment below, and remember, in this timeless sport, every opinion lands like a punch. Like a punch.